Good day to you. I am pleased to welcome you today. Recently, many of you have probably come across the concept of microdosing, the practice of using small doses of psychoactive substances, including psilocybin mushrooms and Amanita muscaria. This method has gained popularity due to promises of improving health, curing many diseases, enhancing cognitive abilities and creativity, without inducing intense psychedelic effects. Many of you are probably aware that the trend of using Amanita muscaria was initiated in the 1960s by CIA employee Gordon Wasson, who wrote a book titled Soma, The Divine Mushroom of Immortality, in which he claimed that the Amanita muscaria mushroom species influences spiritual development and consciousness. But was it really about spiritual development and consciousness? Considering that the book was funded by the CIA responsible for the MK-Ultra project, whose main goal was mind control, could the promotion of Amanita substances have been about taking over your consciousness? Remember, the MK-Ultra project has not officially ended, but that's not the focus today. Today, we will examine the abundance of stores offering endless amounts of Amanita and question whether what internet pseudo-shamans and their assistants offer is truly Amanita, and whether their promises of health improvement on many levels are not just made up. You have surely been in the forest before. There are countless mushrooms growing there. Whether you have picked porcini mushrooms, chanterelles, or Amanita muscaria, you know that mushrooms need to be cleaned and properly preserved. One method is drying, which allows us to preserve their properties for longer. Now imagine this. A fully grown fly agaric mushroom weighs about 100 grams, including the cap and stem. Let's say you have collected 10 kilograms of fresh fly agaric mushrooms, which means around 100 large mushrooms. If you only keep the caps, you will have about 8 kilograms left. In the drying process, the weight of these 8 kilograms will reduce by approximately 90%, leaving you with 800 grams of dried mushrooms. Why does the Amanita need to be collected in the wild and cannot be commercially cultivated? Although the Amanita muscaria grows naturally all over the world, cultivating it at home or in a garden is not possible. Some sellers offer Amanita spores for sale. However, buying them is a waste of money because there is no proven method to grow mushrooms from them. The Amanita has a mycorrhizal, symbiotic relationship with trees. Unlike many other edible or psychoactive mushrooms that can be commercially cultivated or even grown at home using kits, the Amanita muscaria requires specific trees to establish its mycorrhizal network. This makes it nearly impossible to create the complex ecological conditions required to grow your own Amanita, which has a relatively slow growth rate compared to some other cultivated mushrooms. The complex life cycle of the Amanita includes the formation of a mycorrhizal network, which are the white underground roots of the mushroom fruiting bodies, which are the mushroom's above-ground fruiting structures that release spores. Attempting to create these conditions at home or commercially is currently almost impossible and requires a deep understanding of the biology of this species. The nutritional needs of the Amanita muscaria are not fully understood, further complicating its commercial cultivation. The intricate dance between the mushroom and its mycorrhizal tree involves the exchange of nutrients, and attempting to replicate this at home would be exceptionally challenging. In the face of growing interest in microdosing and the use of mushrooms such as Amanita muscaria, it is worth examining the availability of these products on the market. By entering the appropriate query into the Google search engine, one can come across endless amounts of stores offering pseudo-Amanita muscarias. Sellers often claim that the mushrooms are dried at a temperature of 40 degrees Celsius. However, at this temperature, the ratio of ibotenic acid to muscimol remains very unfavorable. Meanwhile, in order to convert the acid into the desired muscimol, the mushroom should be dried at a temperature of 70 to 80 degrees Celsius, which is a proven method for converting the maximum amount of acid into muscimol. Some stores may suggest that they have massive quantities of Amanita capsules in various sizes, as well as ointments, extracts, gummies, and more. Each of these products is available in hundreds of pieces, and often you can add any quantity to your cart without limitations. Adding up the quantities provided by the store as available in stock, during our information gathering, it turned out that each verified store has goods equivalent to a minimum of several dozen tons of fresh Amanita. For illustration, let's consider one example. Let's say we buy a package containing 201-gram capsules, so the total content is 200 grams. To obtain 200 grams of dried mushrooms, we need about 2.5 kilos of fresh, whole Amanita mushrooms. If a merchant states that there are 1,000 pieces of this product in stock, they would have to gather about 2.5 tons of fresh amanita just for the capsules of the size mentioned in the above example. Most merchants offer different sizes of capsules, mixtures with other substances and other products supposedly containing amanita. So how is it that every store, of which there are alarmingly many, has access to quantities equivalent to several or even several dozen tons of fresh amanita each season? Remember, a large amanita specimen weighs about 100 grams. So, 1 ton of fresh amanita is 10,000 pieces of a large mushroom. There are even stores that promise the possibility of delivering several hundred kilograms of dried mushrooms monthly. Remember that amanita is only collected during a short period each year, so offering several hundred kilograms every month is illogical. Doesn't this seem suspicious to you? Where does such a huge quantity of mushrooms come from? Are all the products offered truly authentic and from safe sources? Or are we dealing with an attempt to mislead consumers by offering products that do not meet expectations, or are simply logistically impossible? What is so wonderful about the Amanita muscaria mushroom, also known as the fly agaric? This mysterious mushroom contains ingredients that have fascinated people for centuries: ibotenic acid and muscimol. Both are highly toxic. The toxicity comes from their neurotoxic effects, meaning they can have a harmful impact on the nervous system. Consuming ibotenic acid can lead to various symptoms such as nausea and vomiting, dizziness, disorientation, hallucinations, coordination problems, and in extreme cases, it can cause coma or even death. The first of the Amanita muscaria's components, ibotenic acid, is a psychoactive compound that can induce hallucinogenic effects. The second, muscimol, acts as an agonist for GABA receptors in the brain, which can lead to states of relaxation and euphoria. Interestingly, both of these compounds can be synthetically obtained. Although a complex process, it opens up many possibilities for fraudsters. It requires precise heating of ibotenic acid to transform it into muscimol, followed by thorough purification and verification of the product using advanced analytical techniques. In medicine, there are drugs that work on similar principles to muscimol and ibotenic acid, such as the Amanita muscaria we are discussing. Chlorzoxazone, used as a muscle relaxant, acts centrally, helping to reduce muscle tension. Diclofenac is a popular anti-inflammatory drug that relieves pain and inflammation. Many of these drugs are combined with paracetamol to enhance their analgesic and antipyretic effects. There is even a drug called Muscazon, containing both chlorzoxazone and paracetamol, and Muscol, which contains chloroxazone, diclofenac, and paracetamol. For example, for €120, one can buy 100 grams of chlorzoxazone, or even 500 grams for about $300. As a filler, you can basically use any edible dried mushroom. In the case of pure synthetic muscimol, it is worth noting that this substance is quite expensive. For the sum of €400, one can only purchase 25 milligrams, which is enough for approximately 12 capsules of 2 milligrams, emphasizing the high cost associated with its acquisition and production. Surprising similarities in the effects of substances like chloroxazone and muscol to those induced by the red fly agaric mushroom raise interesting questions about the current state of research and consumer awareness. Some individuals may not realize how closely these synthetic chemical compounds can mimic the natural psychoactive effects of mushrooms. This lack of knowledge can lead to situations where people are unaware of what exactly they are acquiring, whether it is a pure chemical substance or a natural product. Consumers seeking a panacea for health may be sold just chemistry without a clear understanding that the effects may be similar, but not identical to what is expected. Such inaccuracies can have serious implications for the safety and health of users. However, the use of these substances is not without risk. Side effects may include liver problems, gastrointestinal issues, and even the risk of addiction or allergic reactions. This leads us to reflect. Are we truly getting what we assume when purchasing products promising the effects of Amanita muscaria? Is it possible that what some stores offer is not the red fly agaric, but other synthetically derived compounds? Consider whether you are not being misled by promises without substance. As we approach the end of our discussion on Amanita muscaria, I would like to emphasize a few key aspects that we should collectively consider. Firstly, it is important for us to recognize how easy it is to be seduced by tales of the miraculous properties of certain substances such as Amanita muscaria by online pseudo-shamans and their assistants. Fascination and curiosity, though part of our nature, should always be balanced by a responsible approach and awareness of potential consequences. Secondly, We must question the responsibility we bear in promoting or using such substances, especially when it concerns people in our environment, children, parents, friends. We cannot ignore the facts about negative side effects, such as pain, diarrhea, and other unpleasant reactions that may occur. If you have experienced symptoms like chest pain, dizziness, headaches, or seizures while microdosing Amanita muscaria, these could be warning signs requiring attention, especially since such symptoms are more characteristic of the aforementioned chemical substances than of real Amanita, unless it is poorly dried, as known from few studies on the mushroom's effects on the body's physical condition. Finally, facing reality is not easy, but it is necessary. Some of the listeners may have developed defense mechanisms, such as denial or repression, while others, more intelligent, have a healthy curiosity and a desire for a deeper understanding of what they have truly experienced. We encourage those who have doubts or questions about their experiences with Amanita muscaria to seek knowledge and answers from sources such as internet pseudo-shamans, institutions like the Sanitary Epidemiological Station, chemical laboratories, those capable of conducting proper research. In conclusion, let us remember that in these times our health and safety as well as that of those around us are paramount. Let us not fall for easy answers and miraculous promises that may cost us more than we are willing to pay. Thank you for your attention, and I hope that this presentation has brought new perspectives and encouraged reflection.